there's an idea around American porn actresses that they make a ton of money, and some of them certainly do, especially now with OnlyFans. Is it the same in Japan? Like, is the pay pretty good?
I would say, oh, actually, we have a new law where it makes the pay. It recently passed this month. Makes the pay. I'm going to talk before that law, just my own experience.
Okay.
I would say it's not worth it. You will make a lot of money, but it's only for a set amount of time. And eventually, if you don't get popular, you won't like it in the American industry too.
Mhm.
You're not going to make any money or get any offers. And after that, what are you going to do? Because you've essentially locked yourself out of any other career choice. Um, but as far as per film, we'll make anywhere from like 2,000 to on the high end, maybe 4,000. But in Japan, we have these things called agencies, and the agencies will take anywhere from 50 to 70% a cut, and then you have to pay taxes twice because there's two kinds of taxes in Japan. There's like an income tax that the company takes on top of that, and then some kind of like country tax afterwards that you pay on your own afterwards. And a lot of girls they don't pay that country tax later, um, essentially like evading taxes. But I pay both, so it was a really big cut for
Wait,
something that was
wait.
working. Yeah, yeah.
Agencies take 50 to 70%?
Yes. So if you get $1,000 for a film, you walk away with just 500 smackaroos. Yep.
How is that? How?
And you
It just
cannot
is?
survive in the industry. Yeah. I, you cannot join the industry without an agency. I'm freelance now, but only because I made a huge name for myself and was able to leave that and keep my name, June Lovejoy. The agency doesn't get to keep that. That's my name. And I was able to move forward in the industry, but you cannot just debut by yourself. You have to go through an agency. Like companies will not touch you. When I say companies, I mean studios.
Interesting. I mean, it's not exactly the same here. It's definitely easier to start with an agency.
Okay.
But if a beautiful girl, I mean, if a beautiful girl was to write to me and say, especially when I had my own studio, I mostly just shoot for like Brazzers and Twisties now, but I would
Mhm.
actually probably refer her to them. If she sent me an email and was like, I want to do porn and she was gorgeous, I would like totally book her on my own. I wouldn't need an
Okay.
agency or like a studio might sign her because so
Nice.
you can definitely, but it is easier to start with an agency, just also
Okay.
too, because like, I mean, for a multitude of boring reasons, but you could definitely start on your own. It would just be harder. But you're saying like studios will not hire you if you don't
They
have an
will
agency.
not touch you at all. I would honestly say 99.9% impossible to start without an agency because agencies are really afraid of being flaked on. Like, say they have like the studio, they get all the actors, the makeup artists, they
Yeah.
poured all of this money, and the girl just doesn't show up. Well, if she's through an agency, they can demand the money from the agency, and it's easier to demand thousands of dollars from a big company than from one girl who just ghosted you.
Oh,
So
interesting. Okay, so the agency actually pays the losses because that doesn't
yes,
happen here.
okay,
That
yes.
doesn't happen here. If a girl doesn't show up to set, the agent's like, "Oh well,
Oh
like
my god, what's the point?
sorry."
What's
Yeah,
the
and there was only one agency that would actually pay like some kind of kill fee.
okay?
But it was only like a couple $100. But otherwise they'll be like, "Oh well, sorry. Well, here's who else I have." But yeah, they
Oh
100%
wow,
do not cover your losses. Absolutely not. And they will
that's so
represent a
interesting.
girl who will flake continually. And there's quite a few girls in the industry with this reputation. And if you work in porn, I don't need to say their names. You know who I'm talking about. There are some girls who like you book them and you're like, will she show up? I don't know. Like
Unheard of. I
it's a
cannot believe
crapshoot.
it. Oh my god. You will
Yeah.
get yeeted out of the industry so fast if you pull that here in Japan, no matter how beautiful, talented, how many fans you have. Because it's expensive.
Yeah, I know.
You of all people know.
I,
But
I wish that I wish that we were a little bit stricter about it because there are some girls that are just like, but they're popular and they're beautiful, but they like may or may not show up. Like they are well known to be flaky, and fucking studios will still book them and wait around and hope they show up.
no.
And yeah, yeah, and they'll
I
still get work. They will
I
not get
love
blacklisted. It's crazy.
being here because I feel like I'm learning because I don't know anything about the American industry except from what I hear, maybe from like Melody Marks or maybe a little bit other like porn star friends. Uh, I that is insane. Yeah. So that's why studios will not want to touch just some random beautiful, no matter how beautiful she is. They'll say,
Mm,
"Oh, we can introduce you to a nice agency," and then go through them.
mhm.
There are good things about being in an agency. You don't ever really. No way. Actually, that's a lie. You still have to show your private information to the studio when you sign a contract. I was going to think
Mhm.
maybe there's a level of anonymity, but no, there's no reason. Like agencies are just dumb. Honestly, I think they're the worst part
Mm.
of the industry in Japan.
Yeah, they can be problematic here too. And then you get some shady agents that it's better now, I feel like.
Okay, okay, good.
Honestly, ever since OnlyFans came along too,
Yeah,
and girls have a lot more personal like
yeah.
agency, the agents are a little bit better. There's a couple of
In
really
Japan
good
too.
ones, but there's a couple ones that are like even like I hesitate booking girls from that agency because I'm just like,
Oh,
and like I don't know. But I still think 50 to 70% is cuckoo. But if they're paying the full
that's
like
true.
kill
The
fee
losses.
for the day,
Mm,
like that makes more sense to me because that
yeah.
definitely does not happen here.